So you guys have seen the awful stimulus package, which is only going to give you $1,200, a one-time payment, and then you're on your own. Meanwhile, the corporations get $500 billion, easy peasy, no strings attached. And on top of that, you have Donald Trump and a lot of senior Republican figures effectively saying that, who needs a lockdown? We can't have a lockdown because the economy comes first. Wall Street comes first, which is effectively what they just told you when they passed the stimulus package. They said, go fuck yourself. This is a reiteration of that very same message from the establishment. They are telling you, we don't care if you get sick and die. Matter of fact, we're ready to make that gamble. We have our interests to look after. So I'm going to show you a few clips right now. And I mean, this is beyond shocking. This is really, they're not even hiding it anymore. The first clip I want to show you is from a governor in Texas. He was on with Tucker Carlson. He laid it out very clearly that they don't care if people die. They just don't care.
Living in fear of is what's happening to this country. And, you know, Tucker, no one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. And that doesn't make me noble or brave or anything like that. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me, I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children. And I want to, you know, live smart and see through this, but I don't want the whole country to be sacrificed. And that's what I see. I've talked to hundreds of people, Tucker, and just in the last week, and making calls all the time. And everyone says pretty much the same thing, that we can't lose our whole country. We're having an economic collapse. I'm also a small businessman. I understand it. And I talk with business people all the time, Tucker. And my heart is lifted tonight by what I heard the president say, because we can do more than, you know, one thing at a time. We can do 2 things. So, you know, my message is that let's get back to work. Let's get back to living. Let's be smart about it. And those of us who are 70 plus, we'll take care of ourselves, but don't sacrifice the country. Don't do that. Don't ruin this great American dream.
You're basically saying that this disease could take your life, but that's not the scariest thing to you. There's something that would be worse than dying.
Yeah. And look, I'm going
to notice how they conflate nationalism, patriotism with the interests of corporations. He's saying, oh, this is for the country. It's for the nation. To make you blindly follow like sheep, make you risk your health, risk the health of your loved ones, the elderly, the young. I don't need to give you a history lesson for you to know that this is a very dirty tactic that has been used by many a regime in the past. And on top of it, he makes more contradictions. He's saying that, look, I'm a businessman. I'm a small business owner. I've talked to people who know business, and this is what we want. So what he's trying to do there is tell you that, look, I'm proficient in this matter. You should listen to me. Oh, wow, that's crazy, man, because I would have thought during a pandemic, you would maybe ponder listening to some fucking doctors and health experts who are telling you that this is not a good idea. I don't know. Just a shot in the dark, man. What a fucking baboon this man is. Really, a fucking baboon. Do you see that hypocrisy? This guy is trying to portray himself as a martyr. Say, look, man, you see, I'm ready to die. I'm ready to just risk my life being an older person. I'm ready to get coronavirus because I care about the country. Well, that's very nice and dandy. You, the politician, you on the payroll of the taxpayers, you who does not have to go out and work retail, who does not have to come into contact with infected people, who does not have to be at risk like some people doing the menial jobs. You know, the peasants, the common folk. That's very noble of you to sacrifice yourself. My goodness. I don't think everybody is on board with your stupid plan. Okay, so if you want to go and die, you want to go and get coronavirus, being an elderly person who is especially at risk, you go do that. You don't speak for every elderly person. And young people, they don't want to risk infecting their family, their grandparents, their parents. Who the fuck said you can make that decision for them? That's easy for you to say because you, being an elected official, whose salary, whose premium healthcare package is so conveniently paid for by the taxpayers. You're not at high risk. You're speaking for yourself. You're speaking from a position of privilege. It's very easy for you to say that. This guy's trying to, again, portray himself as a nationalist, a patriot. He's trying to portray himself as a businessman. Oh, I'm an expert. He's trying to portray himself as a martyr. Oh, I'm not being selfish. I'm selfless. I'm putting myself forward, even though he doesn't have to go through the same risk that working people do. This guy is a suit full of hot air and bullshit. Okay? That's all he is. So we have more examples of this corporate greed. Dick Kovacevic, who ran Wells Fargo & Co. until 2007, wants to see healthy workers below about 55 or so return to work late next month if the outbreak is under control. He says, quote, "We'll gradually bring those people back and see what happens. Some of them will get sick, some may even die. I don't know," said Kovacevic, who was also the bank's chairman until 2009. Well, look, here's a rule of thumb. If you don't know, maybe you should shut the fuck up, okay? Because last I checked, being the CEO of a bank does not make you a health expert, never mind an expert on pandemics. You corporatist, greedy motherfucker, okay? This guy is swimming in money. His establishment is swimming in money. They don't need to put people's lives at risk, but they only want to do that for the sake of their donors, of their shareholders, of their investors, their puppet masters, and the people that they work with. It's really shocking when it comes to a point where a capitalist is literally saying that he is ready to put people's lives at risk and kill them, and I have to sit here and explain how bad this is, as if the statement on its own does not suffice. Next time somebody tells you that socialism kills people, I want you to show them this quote. This is literally the former CEO and chairman of one of the biggest banks on the planet. You couldn't find a more prime example of a capitalist. Again, we have more examples of this kind of blatant disdain, this loathsome disregard for the lives of working class people. This is Donald Trump talking about returning to normalcy, making sure the country is open for business as soon as possible.
For the citizens of our country.
During our town hall today, you threw out a date where you think America can be working again, and that's Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
That's 19 days from now. How did you come up with that day?
Well, it's 19 days, but add another 7 because we've been doing this now for 7. So that's from the time we heard about it.
7 and 9.
From the time so from the time we close it up. So you could add 7 to 9. Look, Easter's a very special day for me. And I see it's sort of in that timeline that I'm thinking about. And I say, wouldn't it be great to have all of the churches full? You know, the churches aren't allowed essentially to have much of a congregation there. And most of them I watched on Sunday online. And he was terrific, by the way. But online is never going to be like being there. So I think Easter Sunday, and you'll have packed churches all over our country. I think it would be a beautiful time. And it's just about the timeline that I think is right. It gives us more chance to work on what we're doing. And I'm not sure that's going to be the day, but I would love to aim it right at Easter.
Can somebody explain what's going on here? You don't care about Easter. You're a fucking liar. You just want to help your buddies on Wall Street. You want to help your buddies in the private sector. I mean, come on. This is grotesque. The guy's literally gaslighting people. He knows that a large number of older voters of Republicans are religious. And he's claiming that, oh, well, we got to make sure that people can get together to celebrate for Easter Sunday. So I love the contrast, pretending to care about people's lives by putting them at risk, by killing them. Maybe that's not the best idea, having people gather in large crowds in a confined area during a pandemic. I'm just saying, man, he just wants to make sure that Wall Street can be open for business. The capitalist machine is in full speed, and the peasants and the common folk, whatever. What happens to them happens. Doesn't matter. This is so grossly irresponsible. I mean, this contrast here, pretending, oh, I'm a Christian, but I also want to put people's lives at risk. What? Which one is it? Make your fucking mind up. Pretty sure Jesus wouldn't do that. Okay? Pretty sure. It's not just Trump, and it's not just this Wells Fargo CEO, and it's not just the lieutenant governor from whatever place in Texas. I'm sorry, I don't remember We got more. You also had Glenn Beck, this radio host, echoing the same message, profits over people. Take a look.
I sincerely hope that we are not at a place as Americans to where we are going to let the Democrats jam down the Green New Deal because we're at home panicked. I want to have a frank conversation with you and ask you where you stand. I'm in the danger zone. I'm right at the edge. I'm 56. In Italy, they're saying if you're sick and you're 60, don't even come in. So I'm in the danger zone. I would rather have my children stay home and all of us who are over 50 go in and keep this economy going and working. Even if we all get sick, I'd rather die than kill the country, because it's not the economy that's dying. It's the country. And I'll show you just what's happening to us just by looking at the talks with the stimulus right now. We have that coming up in 1 minute.
Notice the contradiction. He says, even if we all get sick, I don't care if I die. Well, if you all get sick, it's not just going to be you who's dying. So, not very democratic of you to make that choice for other people, is it, Glenn? And then once again, he invokes this, the patriotism. We can't let the nation die. The nation! What? No, this has nothing to do with the nation. You're definitely going to let the nation die, literally, if you get a bunch of immunocompromised or old people or young people infected with this coronavirus. That's a definite sure way to make sure a large chunk of the nation dies. Because even in these conservative estimates where they're saying, even if everybody got infected, you just have 1% of people dying. Even 1% of 300 plus million, that's a lot of people. And who said you get to make that decision that they're expendable? Who said that? They act like, if we go back to work and everybody's out and we all get infected, like, the economy is going to be 100% perfect, full steam ahead. As if that's not going to put a strain on the healthcare services, as if that's not going to put a strain on the entire country, on the economy. People dying in scores. Socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for the poor. No, this is let's slaughter the poor. Literally, let them die. It's very ironic that this Glenn Beck is saying that from the comfort of his studio, his isolated studio. He doesn't have to go out. He doesn't have to work the dirty jobs like the common folk, the working class. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to be at risk. So it's very easy for him to hypothetically say like, I would go out and work. No, you fucking wouldn't. Do it then, you coward. Right now. We have a pandemic right now. Volunteer. What are you waiting for? You just said you would rather die, that you would sacrifice yourself. So obviously this must be very important. Why aren't you going out and volunteering? Why aren't you doing that? You just told us how important this is. Fucking hypocrite. What a fucking hypocrite. And I love how he said, I would rather die than kill the country. Okay. Put your money where your mouth is then. Go out, do the dirty jobs, put yourself at risk then. Do it. These capitalists at this point, they just have no shame. They're openly telling you that, we don't care if, the elderly die. We don't care if people's lives are put at risk. We don't have to suffer those consequences. You do. I'm safe. I'm rich. I'm privileged. I have healthcare. I have my positions. I can talk in hypotheticals. I'm allowed to speak in hypotheticals because I am in a position of privilege. I will never have to act upon those hypothetical situations. And you've had outrage on social media. On Twitter, you had hashtag not dying for Wall Street trending. Because, people are clearly, rightfully outraged by this lunacy, where you have these capitalists, these 1%ers, these privileged people, telling the working class, just go and die. Go back to work. This is actually mind-boggling. The U.S. has had no national lockdown. There's been no proper response from Washington, D.C. And with that said, Donald Trump is still like, we got to go back to normal on April 13th. What do you mean go back to normal? You never did anything outside of normal. You've done literally nothing. You've given people crumbs, $1,200, and they had to wait weeks for it. You were quibbling in the Senate. Meanwhile, the $6 trillion you gave to Wall Street, that was approved tout de suite. You had no national lockdown. You didn't give people any health care. You can't even get masks to people. You can't even get medical equipment out fast enough to hospitals. You did literally nothing. Your response has been abysmal. What do you mean go back to normal? Nothing has changed. The hypocrisy of the Republican Party, they always claim, we're so pro-life and life is sacred. Is that why you want to throw out people into the street? Is that why you don't give people health care? Is that why you want to risk their lives in a global pandemic? Wow. It seems like you're in direct contradiction with all the other stuff we hear from you. They don't care, man. Profits come first. Capitalism comes first. The capitalists come first, dare I say. And if poor people die, if sick people die, whatever. Here's $1,200. Here's some crumbs. Go back to work, you filthy peasants. That's what they're telling you. That's what Donald Trump is telling you. That's what Glenn Beck is telling you. That's what the establishment is telling you, including the Democrats. The Democrats are saying that to you in the form of their legislative work. But the Republicans, they say the quiet part out loud. They're literally just telling you, yeah, fuck you. Go back to work. We don't care. Unbelievable. This is really disgusting. And the next time somebody tells you socialism kills people, just show them this. Show them this video.